Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking through the word problems in the 3.2 Math Excel assignment. So our numbers may be different, but overall the problem, the story should be the same. So for question number 8, it says that a store sells small notebooks for $6 and large notebooks for $10. If a student buys 6 notebooks and spends $52, how many of each size did he buy? So the first thing we always want to do in these word problems is define our variables, meaning what are we going to have the variable x represent, what are we going to have the variable y represent. And the way we can make that decision is by looking at the how many questions. At the very end here, it's saying how many of each size. Ultimately, that is what we're wanting to find out. And Math Excel is going to give us a clue right here for how to set up our variables in what it's asking for next to the little answer boxes, how many small notebooks and how many large notebooks. Those are the two things that we're wanting to find out. So that's what we're going to set up our variables to be. So I'm going to have x represent the number of small notebooks. I'm going to have y represent the number of large notebooks. Always write on your paper what x and y represent. It not only helps me looking at your work, but it also helps you to know what your answer means. So in a problem set up like this, there are essentially two equations that we are going to write with the information that they are given us. So the first equation, I'm going to give a nickname and call this the total amount equation. I don't know if this is still recording. That was so weird. I got a little notification, something about Java. Okay, looks like it's still recording. My timer is still going. So we've got the total amount equation. And if we go back and look in the story, it's telling us that the student buys 6 notebooks. So that's 6 notebooks total. So we're just saying that the number of small notebooks, x, plus the number of large notebooks, y, should be equal to 6. That was the total. Now the second equation that we will write is going to have to do with the cost or the dollar amount. What's going on with the money here or the prices. So we're going to be looking at all of the information that has to do with money. Anything that has a dollar sign next to it is going to be grouped together into the same equation. So it says that small notebooks are $6. So we're going to say $6 multiplied by the number of small notebooks, which is x. Large notebooks are $10. So let's do $10 multiplied by the number of large notebooks, which is y. And altogether that total cost was $52. You could even put a little dollar sign next to each amount here just to make sure that you've put all of the correct pieces in the correct location. Now it is your choice to solve the system using the method of your choice. Substitution works well on one like this because you can get x by itself or y by itself pretty easily from the first equation, or you can do elimination. I tend to prefer elimination methods, so I'm going to multiply everything in my top equation by -10 because I can see that I've got a positive 10y in my second equation, and I'm going to turn this into a negative 10y so that my y's can eliminate. Now another thing I could have done is I could have multiplied everything by -6, but I chose -10 because I think 10 is just an easy number to work with when we're multiplying. So when we do that, we get negative 10x minus 10y equals negative 60. And the bottom equation is just going to stay the same. I'm not going to make any changes, so I'm going to recopy it over as 6x plus 10y equals 52. Now I'm ready to add them together. So negative 10x plus 6x is negative 4x. The negative 10y and the positive 10y are going to cancel out. And on the other side, negative 60 plus 52 is negative 8. So here the numbers work out really nice. If we divide both sides by -4, we end up getting that x is positive 2. And remember that x represented the number of small notebooks. So I can put a 2 over here in that first answer box. Now on this one, it's really easy to figure out why, because we know that the total number of notebooks has to equal 6. And so if X is 2 notebooks, I can think, okay, 2 plus what number equals 6, and that would be 4. All right, let's take a look at question number 9. Mine says that one day a store sold 18 sweatshirts. White ones cost $11.95, yellow ones cost $13.50, and all $241.45 worth of sweatshirts were sold. How many of each color were sold? So here's the how many question. That's going to help us to figure out how to set up our variables. So how many of each color? So the two colors we have are white and yellow. I'm going to have X represent the number of white, and Y is going to represent the number of yellow. We are going to set up the same two types of equations that we did in the last problem. So we're going to start with our total amount equation. And that clue is given to us in the very, very first line. One day, a store sold 18 sweatshirts. So the total number of sweatshirts, X plus Y, must equal 18. The second equation is going to have to do with the cost, or the price, of the items. White ones cost $11.95. So we've got $11.95 times X. Yellow ones cost $13.50. So we've got $13.50 times Y. And the total cost there was $241.45. I would grab a calculator for this one. If you don't already have one handy, it will be helpful with all of these decimals. Now, you can definitely do the elimination method here, like I did the last time. I like using substitution when I have problems with more decimals. So I'm going to model this one with the substitution method. I'm going to solve for Y. That's my favorite one to solve for if I have a choice. I'm going to get Y by itself by subtracting X from both sides. So right here I can see that Y is equal to 18 minus X, and so I'm going to plug that quantity in for Y into the bottom equation. So I've got 1195X plus 1350 times the quantity 18 minus X. Make sure that 18 minus X goes in parentheses. Now I'm going to continue solving this by distributing the 1350 into the parentheses. And I'm just going to do this on my calculator right here. Okay, so let's bring down the 1195X part. 1350 times 18 is 243. And then I'm going to do minus 1350 times X when we distribute that to the second part. And now we've got some like terms here. So 1195X minus 1350X. On my calculator here, I'm just going to type in 1195 minus 1350, and that is negative 155, negative 1.55X, and we still have this plus 243. And we're getting closer here in solving for X. We'll go ahead and subtract 243 from both sides. So on the left side, we are left with negative 155X. Let me do my calculation over here for the right. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is negative 155 as well. How cool. So when we divide both sides by negative 155, it's the exact same number divided by itself. And so X is equal to positive 1. That was kind of cool. I didn't think it would work out that way. Okay, so X represented the number of white sweatshirts. So the store sold one white sweatshirt in my problem, but it was 18 sweatshirts all together. So I'm just going to think to myself, 1 plus what number is 18? And that would be 17. I'm assuming here in Math Excel, as soon as I type in the first answer, the second answer box is going to pop up asking me the number of yellow. All right, and finally, here is question 10. My problem says that a museum charges $15.50 for a one-day youth admission and $19.50 for a one-day adult admission. One Friday, the museum collected $1,800, let's try this again. How about we say $1,810 from a total of 108 youths and adults? How many admissions of each type were sold? Here's our how many question. How many admissions of each type? So we need to have our variables represent the different types of admissions. I'm going to have X represent the number of youth admissions and Y to represent the number of adult admissions. All right, let's do our total amount equation. So we are going to look in the story to find out the total number of tickets sold, and that is 108. So we have X plus Y is equal to 108. The second equation is going to have to do with the cost, the dollar amount for all of these tickets. So it tells us that it's $15.50 for a youth. So we're going to multiply that by X. It's $19.50 for an adult, so we multiply that by Y. And the total amount, the $1,810. Remember, you can put that dollar sign in front of each component to make sure that you put all of those correct numbers together in the correct equation. Now, again, you can do elimination here, or you can do substitution. I think to finish this one out, I'm going to do this one with elimination. And it doesn't matter here if you eliminate the X or if you eliminate the Y. I'm just going to eliminate X. So even though I'm dealing with some decimals here, I have a calculator if I need it. I'm going to multiply everything in the top equation by negative 1550 because I'm looking at the positive 1550x on the bottom. And if I can make this a negative 1550x, then I can get my x's to eliminate. So that'll be negative 1550x, negative 1550y, and I'm going to grab my calculator for this last part. I'm going to do 108 times negative 1550, and that is negative 1,674. And I'm going to recopy the bottom equation, but I'm not going to make any changes to it. I think the numbers are actually going to work out here really nicely. So at the very start here, in adding the components together, we see that our x's are going to eliminate. Really quick here, I'm going to do negative 15.5 plus 19.5. I just put that into my calculator, but it ends up nicely to be positive 4. So that's really great. And then we have negative 1674 plus 1810, and that is 136. And that is a multiple of 4. So when we do 136 divided by 4, we get that our final answer for y is 34. So it's going to be 34 adult admission tickets. So if I go back over here into this answer box, 34 adult admissions, and I need to figure out how many youth. So I'm going to go back to my first equation because that's easiest for me to use. So if x is the number of youth tickets and the number of adult tickets was 34, and I know that the total has to be 108, I'm just going to subtract 34 from both sides. I'm going to grab my calculator here one last time, and I see that it's going to be 74 youth admission tickets. So I'll put my answer right in the box there. So I hope that was helpful for you all, taking a closer look at the word problems in tonight's